Welcome back to Cosmoholics Anonymous. I am your favorite new mama, Bougie Vintage, and today's video is a wear test video and a trying new products video and the only Fenty Beauty review that matters, okay? No shade, no tea. Last year, I put out a PSA and I let Fenty know exactly what we needed. And I think they didn't heard me. Okay, I think they listened a little bit. You know, it's not exact, but we're getting somewhere. So I'm happy to do this. I have things to do, places to go, people to see, child. So we ain't gonna be sitting up here all day talking about the products. I feel like, well, I don't know. Some of you guys have told me that you haven't watched anybody else's review yet, and that's totally fine. But if you have watched other people's reviews and you've already been convinced to buy the product, well, that's cool too. I'm going to start things off with, obviously, the Fenty Beauty Primer. And we all know this primer is my fave. Favorite primer. Got rid of my mustache finally, thank the Lord. And I want my makeup to stay on, honey. So, we can get to rubbing this in. And don't mind my nails. Like, there's a lot going on here. And I don't know what it is, but I haven't set my appointment. Like, I've been, like, taking my sweet, precious time to set my appointment. And I really don't know why. I think I'm just lazy. I gotta cut that shit out because these nails are not okay. I'm going to do some slight color correcting under here. This is not a Fenty product, so it's not important. Now I'll be taking my Pro Filter foundation. This is in the shade 410. And I personally prefer to blend out with my beauty blender. I don't really care to use the foundation brush because Fenty does have a foundation brush. Somebody asked that when I do this video I compare it to the NARS concealer, but I feel like it's probably better compared to MAC because the MAC concealer is supposed to be 24 hours. And so I'm gonna see when I open this what I feel like it most resembles. Now, the coolest part about these concealers is that in order to find your shade, this system is so freaking genius. All freaking companies should do this. But basically, your concealer shade is the same as your foundation shade. The only difference is the concealer is made to be a little bit lighter. I purchased 3 different shades because I actually have 420 as a foundation shade as well, but it is a tad dark, so that's why I opted to use 410. So I'm not going to use the 420 today, but I am going to use the 410 because that's what you're supposed to use with it. And then I also bought 445 because I figured it would be dark enough to contour with. So I'm hoping that it's dark enough to contour with, because I really don't know. It looks like it might could work, okay? Packaging is cute and chic. It's very simple. Fenty. And of course I bought the brush to apply it as well. So this is the Precision Concealer Brush. I'm going to do one side with the brush and the other side with my Beauty Blender because I prefer to use Beauty Blender, but there's been videos that you've seen me use a brush to apply concealer, so I'm going to see how good this brush is. I usually like the Fenty Beauty brushes. I use them all the time, and so this brush just looks like that. I prefer a dome shaped brush when I'm doing my under eye concealer if I am going to use a brush, so we'll see what happens. So this is my 410. Let me double check. Yep. And I think Fenty's, it's really creamy and it looks pretty full coverage. Looks very thick when you apply it. I don't think I would compare this to the NARS concealer. I think I would more so compare it to probably to the Too Faced concealer, which is my favorite right now. And then I'm just going to use this brush to stipple. I'm not really sure how to use this brush. It's not the right shape for me, I don't think. This is not what I prefer to blend my concealer in. So I'm probably going to switch to Beauty Blender because no. This brush, I don't like it for concealer. You know, you like what you like, so you might find that that brush is great for you, but for me, I need a sponge for my concealer, and I'm loving it so far. It looks really good with the foundation, and it's definitely not the same color. It is lighter, and so it's giving me the highlight that I like, because I like a natural highlight. I don't like to be white under my eyes. Like, no, that is not cute. Instant Photo Soft coverage for all. Long wear, light as air, crease proof, which are the main things that you want from a concealer anyway, especially an under eye concealer. And so far it looks like that's exactly what I'm getting, so I'm excited about that. But it blended into the foundation so nicely. I feel like I look flawless already. I love the what's it called? The formula. I love how it's applying, and I like the applicator as well. Just putting that out there. We're gonna try not to do too much Fenty dick sucking today. We're just gonna keep it a buck. I'm mostly excited to try the powders. Like, so far Fenty has not disappointed. I mean, some of their collections we definitely could have done without, but they're redeeming themselves right now, so you know, this is what we needed from them, like, seriously. I definitely asked for a liquid concealer. That was one of my things. And I asked for powder. We got that. So, I mean, Fenty's definitely listening to the consumer, and we can appreciate that. So now I'm going to do my forehead. Like, it's so crazy because the concealer seems like it's mad thick, but it doesn't feel heavy, which you don't want a heavy concealer. You don't want to feel like you're wearing a lot of makeup, and that's the beauty that I find with Fenty, is that their products, the quality is there. Like, it's just there, you know? Fenty is one of those products that you could wear to the club and sweat, and your makeup is gonna look unfazed. It just blends so nicely. I cannot. I don't know. This concealer might be giving Too Faced a run for their money, because I'll definitely be reaching for this concealer on a regular basis. I think they were smart to release the concealer a year later, or a year and a half later, because it's kind of got me back to using my Fenty Beauty foundation, because I was not using my Fenty Beauty foundation. I was using Makeup Forever. And there's nothing wrong with the Fenty Beauty foundation. I like to alternate a lot, and so I kind of put it on the back burner. But because of how well it's working with the concealer, I know that I'm going to end up finishing another bottle of Fenty Beauty. Okay, so the moment of truth, I am going to use 445 now to contour. This is what I usually use to contour. This is MAC. This is the 24-hour Studio Fix Fluid, or Studio Fix 24-hour Smooth Wear Concealer. And so this bottle's frosted and this bottle's not, so the shade is definitely off. We're gonna see if we like, this is gonna make or break my makeup look, and I'm leaving the house, so I'm kind of scared. Not too dark, because I don't like to contour with something that's like mad dark, so I like a more natural finish on my contour. But I definitely feel like I could have gone a shade darker, so maybe what would be next, 450? I probably could have gone 450 honestly, but we'll see what happens when I start to blend. Keep in mind, Rihanna has pretty oily skin, so I feel like her products are catering to people with that type of skin, even though you can use it still if you don't have oily skin. Like, I don't have oily skin. I have combo where I'm dry and oily, and a lot of the times with the seasons my skin changes as well. Even though her products are designed to keep you mattified, they don't feel drying, which is a big deal for people with dry skin, obviously. So if you have dry skin, it's still okay to use the Fenty Beauty products. In terms of this concealer for contour, I think I just need to switch shades, but I probably won't use this on a regular basis to contour. the 445. I will probably just stick to what I know, which is the MAC concealer, because I like the way my MAC concealer looks with all my foundation shades. For highlighting, definitely. For contouring, not so much, but that does look nice, I think. I mean, I'm looking in the viewfinder, child. I could look a mess right now. It's easier for me to see it in the viewfinder than it is for me to see it in my mirror. The moment of truth. First, I'm going to whip out the powder brush. Usually I use my sponge to apply powder, and then I use a brush to dust off the powder. So I think I'm going to stick to that method. But I'm excited that they do have a powder brush, because we definitely need a powder brush. And it's shaped so nicely. It's mad soft. I ordered 2 different powders, but I got 3. Whoever packed my Sephora box, you're gonna get fired because you sent me a product that you weren't supposed to. So Nutmeg is actually the shade for people that are in the 400s to, I believe, 490. I can't remember what the website said, but that was my main concern. I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to know which powder to buy? Because they had so many. I think there's 8 colors that you could choose from. And so this is the Pro Filter Instant Retouch Setting Powder. This box feels heavy. I think it's going to be comparable to the Laura Mercier. Ooh, I like. This was my main concern, but when I got on the website for Sephora, I saw that it explained to you, if you are in these shades, then you need to purchase this powder. So it's like everything is pretty much spelled out for you. They made it really simple, and I think that's the best part, because there's nothing I hate more than shopping for foundation shades online. I hate it. It's so frustrating, because it's like, how the hell am I supposed to know what the hell to buy? You know? But this really lets you know what to buy. And so you get this, and there's a sticker on there. And then what I love about the Fenty Beauty powder products now is that they're coming with stoppers. So once you're done, you could clog the holes and you won't get spillage. Light as air setting photo soft finish for all. Apply with powder puffs. Apply with powder puff setting brush to set foundation, concealer, and contour. So basically, you just apply this powder to your entire face, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do, because that's what they're telling me to do. I think I'm not going to use banana today, but I am going to do another tutorial where I do use banana so that you guys can see wagwan. I really, 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 really want to use my sponge because I prefer my sponge, but let me just, because she's looking a little too snatched. Let me just do what they said, child. And I'm just going to use the brush all over. So I am in the shade Nutmeg. If you are 4 to like 4, I believe 90, this is supposed to be your shade. And it's supposed to be truly translucent, but it looks, to me, it looks darker than my highlight and my contour, so I'm a little worried about using it, because I'm like, how is this gonna change the color of my skin or what? So I'm tapping off the excess, honey, because I do not have time for the foolishness. And I'm just gonna apply it here and see what's going on. So far, so good. It didn't change too much. It just took my, I guess, wet look to a dry look. And I love the idea of using just one powder to set your entire face, because if you've been watching my more recent tutorials, I do use my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Dark to set my whole face, and then I go in sometimes after that to bake. I could definitely see myself using this brush to set my whole face on a regular basis. And this product does have a little bit of a scent to it, but it's almost not even there. So it's not really a concern. I think I'm just going to leave my face as it is. I'm not going to apply any of my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Dark Deep, because that's usually what I would do. I would go ahead and contour, but I can see the shadow there, and I feel like I don't need to go in with that, so we're just gonna skip right ahead and go to highlighter and blush. For highlight, I'm gonna go in with my Diamond Bomb in How Many Carats. This is one of my favorite highlighters. For blush, I'm gonna take Raisin by MAC. So Fenty, even though they released all this powder and stuff, they didn't release a setting spray. So we're still waiting for that. But you guys did good with everything else. It is 4:02. My makeup is basically done. I just gotta go like throw lashes on. I'm gonna check back in a couple hours, I guess, because I'm gonna hit the road. You know what? I'm mad lazy today. I'm not even gonna put lashes on. I am just going to work with what the good Lord gave me and throw some mascara on my natural lashes, because that is the true Fenty face. Okay, a real Fenty face wouldn't go out with no and that's what we need, Fenty. We need some damn mascara. A real Fenty face would not have on any false lashes. You heard it here first, bitch. Just gonna pop on that mascara. I mean, hello lashes. Are you popping or are you popping? Ooh, I'm popping so much as Mary Poppins in this bitch. But yeah, doing the most. Let's have a toast. All right, so I'm gonna go get a wig on and get dressed and go outside and enjoy the day. And I will be back in a few hours. So the time is now, did I leave my phone? Jesus. The time is after 8. The time is now 8:59 p.m. Okay. I finished my makeup at 4 something. And I went out. If you follow me on Instagram, I was doing a live stream from Costco on my way to Costco and at Costco, and I have not touched up my makeup once. As you can see, I still pretty much look flawless. I'm going to tell you guys what I like and don't like. So just a quick recap. I use the shades 410 in both the foundation and the concealer, and even right here you can see that there is a difference in shade. The whole idea here is that you're supposed to be able to just know your match because it's supposed to be the same number. I find that the colors do work well together. I definitely love the coverage. I'm digging the concealer. It's probably gonna get emptied out real quick. And I think for the most part, we are creaseless. Like, I have lines under my eyes, so no matter what concealer I wear, I definitely get that crease look, but it's, to me, it's not so visible that I'm embarrassed by it, because girl, there are some concealers out there that I'm like why are you even a concealer? Like, why do you exist, you know? So I think it's kind of cool that I don't have too much creasing under my eyes. I'll zoom so you guys can see. Like, it's not really a tyrant. Is there creasing? Yes. Compared to other concealers that I own, that I use, that I get creasing with, I would probably prefer this one over some of those ones. So for the concealer, I'm going to give it a definite thumbs up. For the foundation, you guys already know how I feel about the foundation. I would say out of all my foundations, I use the Makeup Forever one the most. But I get tired of using the same foundation, so it wouldn't be a shocker if I stopped using the Makeup Forever foundation and I picked up something like my NARS foundation instead. Like, I like to alternate a lot, so it doesn't matter which foundation I like to wear. Now, based on how my skin looks and how the shade is, I don't think I could get away with using 420 anymore, because already I'm gonna switch my camera settings so you guys can see. You might not be able to tell, but my face does look darker than it's supposed to, and it's just like your foundation being too light. Right now I feel like my foundation is too dark, and so as soon as I went downstairs, like after I did my makeup today, my mom made a comment And I was like, I know, because when I came out of my filming room and I went to go look in the mirror, I was like, oh, I look a little bit darker. And so that is the problem, I guess, with filming, because I have bright lights and stuff, and I was filming in the daylight still, but sometimes the color can be off, and usually 420 is a go for me. So I personally feel like it's the setting powder that kind of made me look darker. Now, it's not so dark where you're like, oh my god, but it's still visibly darker than it's supposed to be. This is the darkest setting powder I've ever used. I've only ever used translucent powders or yellow based powders like banana powder. The setting powder that I used is Nutmeg, and it's supposed to be a translucent powder, which I find for the most part it is a translucent powder, but I think to set my face it's too dark. I feel like I have to use the shades that, I feel like I have to use one shade up to set, because, and so I did purchase banana, but I haven't used banana. So when I do another video, I'm going to test out to see how the banana looks, but I used Nutmeg and I feel like I can't use it to set my whole entire face. Even though it seems to be a translucent powder, I feel like it still altered my face to where I look darker than I'm supposed to. Because I've had 410 for so long and I know I'm not 390. 390 is too light. So it's like, what do I do, honey? Other thing that's interesting is that the powders itself are supposed to go from, or they're supposed to serve the entire 400 range, which I find odd because the darkest 400 color, which is I believe 490, I feel like if somebody that is that complexion can use this to set their makeup, how could I use that same powder to set my makeup? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I feel like it should be, I feel like I need to be using a lighter translucent powder. And that kind of confused me too about the powders, because I was just like, okay, if it's translucent, why the hell do we need 8? Why can't it just be one universal powder like the Invisimatte powder, which is what originally I had requested. I definitely asked for them to release the Invisimatte as a loose powder because I hated using it as a compact. I found it difficult to work with, and so I was excited to get the translucent powders because I wanted something to set my face, but I didn't want it any flashback, so I wanted literally the Invisimatte powder in a powder form, like in a loose powder instead of in a pressed powder. We're gonna ask them to go back to the drawing board with that. The powder itself is nice. It is a nicely milled powder. It's not the finest mill, like it's not like super silky or anything like that, but it definitely sets your makeup and gets the job done. I just feel like my skin looks a little darker than it should. So I'm gonna switch my camera settings to automatic and see if you guys can see the difference between my skin right now, how it looks on camera, and with the other setting. So this is it on auto. You cannot see. You can't see what I'm talking about. It's something you have to see in person, but all you can do right now is take my word for it that I look darker than I should. I'm gonna go back to the other camera settings now. I'm back in the daylight settings. The reason I like the daylight setting is because I feel like the automatic setting kind of washes me out, where the daylight setting puts the brown back in my skin. You might be able to tell the difference now. I like the powder. I'm just not sure that the shade of powder for all the 400 range is right. So I'm going to order, or I'm going to go into Sephora and pick up the shade range for the 300s and see if that works for setting my face, or if I'm going to look like an ashy ghost. Like, I need to try out more than one powder, and I'm also going to try out the banana powder because obviously I love a good yellow powder, and so I feel like this powder should be able to set my face the way I like it, and I should be able to bake with this powder. So Nutmeg is supposed to be from 400 to 490. Coffee is the last and the darkest shade, and it's supposed to be from 400 to 498. I don't understand that. If you're 400, like, I don't get it. I don't understand how you could use that if you're 400, because 400 is lighter than 410 obviously, and I'm very confused as to how somebody that shade could use this powder that's so deep to set their face. So then we have Hazelnut, which I think would probably be more appropriate for me, which is for $300 to $390. So I would try hazelnut, and then even honey, which is also for $300 to $390. Girl, this is confusing as hell. Why couldn't they just make one damn powder? I don't know what the hell I don't know what shade to choose. And that was my main concern. I think I had watched 1 or 2 videos to see how people were choosing their powders, but everybody that I watched got it in PR, so they didn't really know how to choose the powders. It wasn't until Sephora had dropped it online that I realized, oh, so this makes it really easy in terms of how to pick what color you want. And then banana is supposed to be from $200 to $290, and then butter is supposed to be from $100 to $190. Now, here's my thing. So the Laura Mercier powder, I would say that the shade would resemble the butter shade for Fenty, just because this has a tint to it. It's not a white powder, and we all use the Laura Mercier powder all the time. There is no flashback with it. Like, you don't have that problem. So I love my Laura Mercier powder, and so I want to know why, if these are translucent powders, I can't use the butter shade to set my face, or can I? Like, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna have to try it out. I'm about to go to Sephora and get samples of every damn powder so that I can come back and let y'all know how things are looking, because I don't think that this shade range thing is working out for the powders. The lightest one is called Lavender, and it's for shades 100 to 190. It's not a powder that I would use personally because it doesn't have that yellow tint to it. It's too white, and it's not white like the original Invisimatte powder. It is more, it has that purple undertone to it, so I would stay away from that powder, but the rest of them I feel like I want to try. Quality wise, I would say the powder is great, but shade wise, I still say I'm confused. Is that fair? Okay, let's move on. Now let's get into the brush. I didn't bother purchasing the sponges because although I do love the original sponge that Fenty came out with, I find that I don't use it as much as my beauty blender. So I decided not to purchase the sponges just because I know they're gonna sit there and not get used. I like what I like. I'm not going to spend money on something that I'm just not gonna end up fucking using, because that's what happens with a lot of the stuff I purchase. I don't use them, and then I end up giving them to my family members and stuff, and so I'm like, not doing it this year, okay? We're all about our coin saving this year, so that was a no-go. The brushes, they gave us 2 brushes. They gave us the 180 concealer brush, and they gave us the 170 setting brush. This brush, I love this brush. I swear by this brush. You guys are gonna see me using this in a lot of videos. This brush, I don't need it. Never needed it, don't want it, like, goodbye brush. If you see me using this brush, it's not going to be for concealer. I will probably use this brush on my eyes to apply paint pot or eyeshadow primer, but you will not see me using this on my face. It's too small. It's great to get into little spaces, but it's too small. It doesn't allow me to blend the way I like to blend, and I like to blend, okay? My nickname is Blender. I like to blend, so this brush is a no-go for me, but it definitely can be used for other purposes. And besides, this brush really reminds me of their other brush, which is an eyeshadow brush, so I'm like, no, this should have been a dome-shaped brush. If they had this for concealer brush, but just a little bit thinner, I would have loved it. But this brush can just go. And then of course I used the shade 445 to do my liquid contour or my cream contour. So when I'm doing a cream contour, there's 2 types of products that I prefer. I like a stick foundation, like the Anastasia Beverly Hills stick foundation, even the Fenty Beauty concealer sticks, like something like that, or my liquid concealer. But the consistency of the liquid concealer has to be almost on the more liquidy side for me to enjoy it. And I feel like though these concealers are great and they're nice and creamy and thick, I don't prefer it for my cream contour. So I would use it to do my highlighting and that stuff, but I wouldn't use it to do my cream contour like I used it today. Blendability, obviously it was great because it still blended with the foundation and the concealer, and it looks great, but it's just preference for me. It's just not something I prefer. So I wouldn't even bother picking up a darker shade or to cream contour with. I would just stick to using my MAC concealer or any one of my darker stick foundations that I use to cream contour with on a regular basis. So all in all, I'm actually really happy with the purchases because I feel like the quality is there. One product I don't really care for, which is this, okay, the brush, cancel it. And issue with the powder is more so of a confusing thing, but the powder quality is great. So it's like, it's just, you have to find your right shade. That's basically it. But other than that, I mean, I would give it a thumbs up. I didn't think I was going to have to come and give it a thumbs down just because Fenty has been pretty much on point with their releases. The other cosmetics that Fenty has released last year, or the other collections, of course, some of the stuff I definitely said we could do without and that we never needed, like this. I only purchased this because I thought, because I was ordering from the Fenty Beauty website and I was trying to get my free shipping. So I just threw this in the cart because I was like, fuck it, let me try it out. But so far I've used one shade out of it, and it was for an eyeshadow look. And I love the mirror, goodness gracious. But other than that, I feel like Fenty does a lot of drops that we don't really need, but this one, we definitely needed it, and they're on the right path. So thumbs up for that. I would say if you're interested in purchasing the products, especially the powders, I wouldn't say to purchase online just yet until I get the samples that I need to try all the shades. That would be really frustrating to purchase a powder and then you look in the mirror and you're like, this ain't, this, no. Just no. So that is my only thing. I would say to go into Sephora and get samples of the powders so that you could test them out on your own skin and see which one you like the best to set your makeup. That's my only advice for purchasing the powder. But as far as the concealer goes, I think the method that they came out with is awesome, and it made it really easy to purchase the concealer. I want to say based on how my foundation looks today, because when I say every time I look in the mirror, I'm like, oh my gosh, like my skin looks so great, I look so fresh, like I'm glowing. I know I'm pregnant, girl, but seriously, I'm glowing. Like I look really, really, really nice, and I feel like this is definitely a face I could wear every day and I don't have to worry about it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. In the comment section below, let me know if you have already purchased the items and what your thoughts are on them, or if you were just waiting to see what everybody else was saying and then you were going to go purchase. But I don't think anybody can say anything bad about these products. I think that apart from the brush, the products are great. So I don't know. I feel when it comes to face products, Fenty has nailed it and they have figured it out, and they're not going to put out something that's half-assed, and they're not going to put out something and we're going to be like, WTF is this, okay? Like, they're not going to do that when it comes to face products. The other launches that they've had, you're kind of like, what are we doing? But when it comes to complexion, Fenty has got it freaking covered. So I'm not surprised that I like or have enjoyed these products. My only thing now is to see how well the powders perform with other products, and I'm really, 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 really trying to get to the bottom of whether or not the lighter powders can be used on darker skin. So that's pretty much it. Let me know how you guys feel in the comment section below, and yeah, I love you all, and I'll definitely see you in the next one.